Why, hello there, my beautiful Visibility Vixens. How are you doing today? This episode is just going to be you and me. I feel like we haven't gotten a chance to chat in a long time. We've had different guests. I've been giving you episodes of repurposed lives that I think are super actionable. You've been hearing from the summit, those speakers. I hope you loved that, by the way. So I thought that I would just pop in and have this be you and me. Hello and welcome to the Visibility Vixen podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Lewis, and this show is 100% geared to come alongside you, give you a huge hug, and encourage you to keep going down this crazy trail of entrepreneurship. Between myself and the many incredible guests that come on to talk to you, you're going to leave each episode feeling inspired, motivated, and a little bit more balanced for the road ahead. I'm all about building a brand of integrity, purpose, and skyrocketing your visibility so that you can step into that incredible mission you were born to live. So grab a cup of iced tea, pop in those earbuds, and let's chat. So we're going to be chatting about today, what is the secret to attracting opportunities in your business, whether it's publicity or growth or creating and designing new products. If you're feeling blocked, like, what do you do? How do you accommodate that kind of growth and expansion? We are in Life Reboot Month, which means that I'm going to be taking you through more of the behind the scenes practices that I do in order to sustain building a business. I could teach you about video, live streaming, branding, systems all day long, but if you don't incorporate the more holistic aspects to growing, then it can become a very frustrating and a very tedious process, and it will definitely suck out your joy. So that is why James Wedmore, who is the author of 48 Hour Film School, his podcast is much more holistic. It's much more like mindset and abundance and all of those things, because he knows that that part is so important while you are building your business. So since we're in Life Reboot Month, just in case you want to know this now, I will be encouraging you to sign up for the Manifesting Miracles Challenge. It is there in the notes below this episode, and you can just click on that link, click view full description, click on the link, and it will take you to that landing page so you can join, because we're going to be starting on October 2nd. So it is coming up. It's like 10 days away. So thrilled. I've only ran this challenge once before because I wanted to test to see if my audience enjoyed this kind of material. And it was so cool to see the results that people were getting by day 5. So what I mean by manifesting is putting an intention along with an emotion. So I'll be giving you a daily video lesson, and you'll be able to practice, whether it's your dream board or your affirmation reminder or whatever throughout the week, so that you can start seeing those opportunities come your way by Friday. I've had people that have grown their list, grown their Facebook group, spent more time with their family, brought in $1,000 of sales, all kinds of cool stuff. So it's really fun to play with this different part of life and see what it can do, not only for you personally, but also to grow your business. So I don't think I got a chance to talk about this before, but this is actually last week was the 1-year anniversary of Visibility Vixen. Woo! Right? I can't believe it. It's so funny to think that just a year ago, I was still running around figuring out what to do. I had created one online course and had the podcast had just started, but that's back when it was called Ladypreneur Legacy. I didn't have the clarity yet to have coined Visibility Vixen. So to look back now and see 6 courses and a mastermind and the show about to celebrate its 60th episode next week, which will be a family circle, by the way, is just so neat. So I can't think of any better timing than to be going back into Life Reboot, how all of this got started. If you haven't watched my documentary Healing Places in America on YouTube, I highly recommend it, just because you're able to see, this is pretty much what I did when I was graduating with my doctorate in natural medicine. They said you have to do a thesis, and some people were doing it on different scientific research. Other people were coming up with these really cool inventive things. And I knew that in a way I wanted to be the patient. So because I was still suffering with chronic pain, I wanted to go into the real depths of healing. So like if you've tried herbs forever, you've tried before that a lot of different medication and treatments. What do you do to finally have that break with pain? And a lot of that is energetic. So I decided I wanted to go to all these healing places all over the country and really put myself into those realities and see if that broke up my pain at all, which it did. So I'll put those links below too so you can watch those videos, but that's what spurred Life Reboot. So once I graduated, I was like, okay, I really want there to be a course where someone can learn all of this wisdom that it took me like 10 years to learn in 30 days. And that's why I highly recommend every student that comes across my path, they're like, what course should I take first? It's like, please, Life Reboot, just take it right now, please. And it's not selfishly motivated at all. It's because I know that that's going to help you get more clarity and more balance and more direction than anything else I can offer you. So a lot of people have gone through the course, they've had huge changes where like they quit one business to go do another because they found their true calling, where they go from confusion and not making any revenue to having total clarity in their business and are just like moving forward. It's really cool. And we have 4 sections in the course. The first one's Awaken, the second one's Purge, the third one is Build, and the fourth is Thrive. And they're both broken down into 7 days a week. So really, 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 really cool to look back and go, look what has been created. I don't believe that I'm a huge originator. I think I'm a facilitator of hearing what I'm supposed to hear from the man upstairs to help people in the best way that I can. So that's it's just cool. It's cool to watch your students go through it. It's cool to watch them grow, and to know that you're in your purpose. And I hope that you're finding that in your business as well. If you're not, please join the Manifesting Miracles Challenge and get a taste of that. See if it's for you. If you are, bravo. As I'm sure you know, it doesn't just come from putting work in your business. It comes from putting work into yourself. So lots been going on in the world lately. I was just at my hairdresser's. That's why it looks the way it looks, unlike normal when it's like... But we were talking and she said, I'm not a religious person, but with everything happening in the world, I feel like it's coming to an end, right? We've had fires. I had a fire that was like 100 feet away from my parents' house that we were fighting for like 12 hours a couple weeks ago. There's been, such flooding with the hurricanes and now earthquakes happening, and it can just feel really scary, right? And it's almost like you just can't get fully focused in your life or in your business, and you don't ever truly feel at peace because you're waiting for that other shoe to drop. Like, do you hear me on that? Like maybe you're going through a similar struggle right now. And I just want to come alongside you because it is, like I was telling my hairdresser, I said, well, you can't, in my opinion, you yourself cannot be the absolute highest power. For me, I can't be. Like, I have to believe in a creator. There has to be someone that's in charge more than I am. And there's a piece that comes along with that. And I think that relates to business because it's like with the Visibility Summit. I loved it. It did really, really well. It didn't do as well as it could have just because literally Hurricane Harvey hit the day my summit started. So understandably, a lot of people were focused on that, as they should have been. But what was beautiful about that is that inside of that summit, something that I do a little differently is I have a section called Featured Giving. And so I brought on my friend Boz, who I think you probably heard in the podcast, talked about how he founded that organization where he goes around the world rescuing kidnapped American children. I want to be able to give entrepreneurs the ability to look at a cause that they really believe in and to contribute. I contribute 10% of what I make, and I think it's such a huge, huge blessing that we have as online entrepreneurs is that we get to choose where our money goes. So with the earthquakes, with the fires, with the hurricanes, I just wanted to give you a little bit of a heads up of where I'm personally putting my finances, because they're having a lot of problems now with organizations that are either fake and just are taking people's money, or so much goes to the overhead, aka the staff and all of that, that not as much is going into the actual supplies for people on the ground. So I personally donate to Samaritan's Purse. You may have heard me talk about them before, but I'm going to talk about them again because I love them. They were literally right outside the city when Harvey struck, so that they could be in there helping people the next day. And they're not just like, oh, hey, let's go on boats and rescue people, even though they did do that. They're like, hey, no, we're going to be here for like months at a time to help get the mold out of these homes and to rebuild them so that families aren't on the street. And they also had shelters where they were taking care of people. And what's really cool is that they have everything's volunteer. 100% of the proceeds go to materials, not to staff. So that's really neat as well. They have medical tents, and they have doctors and surgeons and nurses that volunteer. And so they set up this tent, and people come in and they do like active surgeries in this tent to help people. And they started it over in Africa, I believe. And so now they're able to go to all these places that are having earthquakes and hurricanes and all of that to really help on the ground. Instead of just handing out like blankets and making tents and stuff, they're actually able to help intervene medically if they can't get to a hospital or an emergency room. So really, really cool. They were there at Harvey. They are in Florida. They're in Puerto Rico. They're in Nepal, which is having crazy flooding. They're going down to Mexico because of the earthquakes. So that's a place I love, and I wanted to give them a huge shout out. And they will be my featured giving segment in the next Visibility Summit. So there's a new one coming up. It's going to be released in February, but you can sign up now. I will put those links below. We're going to be recording in November. And what's so cool is that the last summit, as you know, I had to record it in segments. So it was like 3 different days with 3 different groups of people. This one, everyone was available to shoot on the same day. So we are having people coming literally from all over the world, from Australia, from everywhere. And we're all going to be in LA around this gorgeous round table that I booked in Santa Monica. And I'm excited, like in person, fun stuff. And that's what I love about this summit. And that's what the speakers love about these summits, is that they get a reward too. Like, instead of just promoting it to their audience, like they get to come and chat with each other and make those connections. And I love that. You guys know my history is in TV and film. And so to be able to bring some of that into entrepreneurship is freaking awesome. So let's get back to attracting opportunities. I know I'm going on all these tangents, but it's because I've put in this work that I'm going to talk to you about where it's been flowing easily. I remember when I first started, it was like, okay, I'm coming out with this challenge, or I have this offering. How do I get it out there, right? Public visibility. How do I get featured? We're talking like publicity. How do I build relationships, which is like biz besties collaborations? How do I do it? How do I attract these opportunities? Instead, I felt like I was posting in random Facebook groups all the time. I was trying my best. I was boosting Facebook posts. I was maybe getting featured on a blog or 2, but it felt that like internal, like, oh, you know what I'm talking about? So that's when I decided to unplug. And like I said, we'll be talking about this in so much more detail in the Manifesting Miracles Challenge. But I want to encourage you to step back a little bit and to look at, where are you expending your energy in your business? And then where are you expending your energy personally? So some of the biggest time sucks for me: my husband, my dog, my house, right? And food. It's like so much of my day is consumed with, I love you, honey. But like my weekends, those are his. Like I'm not allowed to work on the weekends. And then it's, if he's going to be rapping at 6 or 7 o'clock, I'm the kind of woman that wants to have dinner available because I'm hungry and I want to have him fed. Then the dog needs attention 2-3 times a day. It can get, and then you have to clean the house and do the laundry and blah, blah, blah. And I don't even have kids yet. Moms, like my hat is literally tipping off to you right now. You're a freaking rock star. I don't know how it's going to happen. So it's a really good idea to look at where you're expending all that energy. Are you also working at a full-time or a part-time job? And figure out where can you put in little segments of time for you so that you can have your own thoughts. Where can you put in a little bit of time to do a little bit of meditation, get your brain into alpha state versus beta state, which we'll talk about more next week in the family circle. It's a great episode. And also, how are you getting out into nature? Are you walking barefoot on the beach, in the grass? Are you going on hikes? Are you walking around the neighborhood? Like, how are you clearing space? Because the hardest thing to master about attraction, you need a lot of space to attract, right? And they've measured the auric field and your energy field, and it goes out about 30 feet. And you can measure some people, and they have like machinery that can do this, and their auric field starts to fade at about here, right? Pretty normal. That's someone who's living a pretty normal life in some kind of city. Then they can measure some people, like, and the brain waves of some people that are like, it's not nuns, it's the other guys that are like in the monasteries. You know what I'm talking about. And their energetic field is enormous, 30 feet or beyond. So what do you think is more attractive of positive energy? Is it the one that ends here, or is it the one that's out here? And my arms are really wide, by the way, right now, if you're listening and not watching. So our job is to do everything we can to expand our auric field. I'm the master of this because mine used to be so freaking small. I was so sick, chronic, multiple organ failure, chronic pain, getting lidocaine injections in my skull, hormone therapies, pills, Vicodin. It was awful. I was exhausted. And therefore, because my energy was so low, I was a parasitical energy. I needed from other people and other things all the time. So a lot of my process was coming out of that victim role, which was hard. We all have had a lot of pain in our past, and we want to hold on to that. And we want to be really careful with every opportunity we go into, because this reminds me of that one time at band camp with Susie Q. Our subconscious does some crazy stuff. Instead, focusing on detaching from that parasitical energy and spending more time feeding self with higher frequency, aka the foods you eat, the supplements and herbs that you take, the essential oils that you use. So sorry, but Floracopia, the best. The other ones, not as pure as Floracopia, if you're looking for a really pure essential oil. Also, what are you putting on your skin? Is it extra virgin olive oil or coconut oil? If not, time to change that stuff. What are you putting in your hair? Is it chemicals like, L'Oreal or Pantene Pro V? Ugh. Try switching over to something a little bit more natural. I personally love Monet. So good, right? Really helps this happen. Like I mentioned, what are you eating? Are you taking teas internally? By the way, don't take essential oils internally. What are you having in your space? Are you spraying a lot of Febreze around or putting an air freshener into your light socket? That is going to clog up your gallbladder like you wouldn't believe. And if you're saying, well, I want it to smell nice and I can't really smell, it's because your body is so full of pollutants that it's blocked your sinuses. Trust me, once you start clearing everything out, you can smell Febreze from a mile away, or those air fresheners, and I go into some families' houses that have them, and my husband has to go around and hide them because I'm so sensitive to the smell now. Tide, oh my God, some of my neighbors use it. Awful. Get a more natural laundry detergent. I know those things seem kind of silly and superficial, but you have to see it as that glass that's filling with water, right? So your environment could be so full of pollutants now that there's no way that your field can expand. So let's start purifying ourselves from the inside out as much as we can so that we can start decreasing that glass and get more clear and level-headed. Are you mineralizing your eyes using, I use something called eye tears every morning that has a little bit of minerals in water, and that's why the whites of my eyes, you see them? Aren't they crazy? Yeah, it's because of that stuff. Do you see the ring around my eyes? It's like someone took a Sharpie. that represents the vitality, like how's your life force and how's your organ function. So if you look in the mirror and your eyes are not bright white, if they're maybe a little yellow, and if they don't have that Sharpie ring around them, but maybe are very faded, maybe I'll find that eye picture that I have somewhere. It's the before and after of my eye. It's really cool. Then you may want to think about that. There's all kinds of ways that you can look at your body and see how things are doing to take better care of yourself. This is why I love talking about the behind the scenes stuff with business. When you start getting freer, then you start getting attracted to different things, working on your mindset, working on your affirmations and intentions, working on your expansion. How are you really going to help people? And that transition goes from, I'm desperate, I need to make money, I want to be successful now, into, I crave that success as a thought leader because I know I've been through enough crap to help a multitude of other people either avoid that or come out of that faster and healthier than I did. So that's what I've learned. And when I started really putting in those strategies, I found the opportunities started coming to me. Not saying that I don't, look around and submit to different places, but it becomes a much more effortless process. And I think people can feel that authenticity and that, that like groundedness that they're attracted to. Those are some things that I've found. If you want to go deeper with this, please join the Manifesting Miracles Challenge. So much fun. And I worked really hard on that landing page. Let me know what you think. That video was the third one because I first tried it with the Mevo, which didn't go well. The second one, the lighting wasn't good. So this is the last one. And the video is shot on the lake at my parents' new property. So I would love for you to see that. So stay tuned. Next week, I'm having my parents over for another family circle episode. We're going even deeper about manifestation. It's filled with power. And I'm going to warn you right now, please bring a pen and paper to that episode because they have so much that they're going to be throwing at you. You'll be taking notes like crazy. So in the meantime, have a wonderful rest of your week. Enjoy the rest of Life Reboot. If you aren't following me on Instagram, I highly recommend it just because the posts this month are out of this world. Really informative and really, really great. It's really sparking a lot of good conversation. I will see you guys later. Have an awesome rest of your week. And I just found out that my top audience is in Japan. Woo! Hey guys! Arigato! I know I'm so white, but I really want to thank everyone for listening. Japan, United States, we've got people in Germany, Britain, Australia. I really appreciate it. I would love to hear from you. Feel free to shout me out if you're listening on iTunes or Stitcher, give a review. Otherwise, if you're on YouTube, say hey, and you're always welcome in my Facebook group, The Visible Entrepreneur. Lots of love. See you guys next week. Bye.
Thanks for listening in today to the Visibility Vixen podcast. Subscribe now and share with a fellow Vixen who wants to start building their visibility. For more fire in your life and brand, visit visibilityvixen.com.